happy is, as happy does.
Oh my. That cup is half full. It's Kenny Chesney, and happy is on 94.3 The Ox. Time for Coffee Talk, brought to you by the Comanche Chamber of Commerce and Agriculture. Check them out at #Explore Comanche, Texas. And that's a perfect segue into this, isn't it? Happy is Cynthia Newton with Hope Counseling. Good morning, Cynthia.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm here.
You know what? Though you seem in a pretty good mood this morning, so.
Well, I'm in the air conditioning right now, so
That can contribute to
check
all
with me.
factors of
Check
life.
with me about 1 or 2 o'clock this afternoon. See how.
Yeah, that's when we all wilt away to
Melt.
nothingness.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh man. So, have you noticed that prices are going up in our community?
Just a skosh.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just like noticed this like the other day, right? So
Everything
is going up.
Stupid.
Rent, gas, food, living expenses have reached an all-time high.
I'm thinking stress is probably right there with it.
Surpassing prices that haven't been seen in over 40 years.
Yeah.
As a result, that we're actually noticing greater levels of stress in their patients.
Surprise.
Inflation of this magnitude can cause anxiety, depression. I mean, all this is probably pretty obvious. And even other mental health issues as the pandemic, and certainly lasting over 2 years, remains as part of our awareness.
Yeah.
Okay? So, when we look around us and you sit there and you go, I can't even figure out how to go get money to fill up my gas tank. Guess what? You are not alone.
Right.
Okay? So I want to talk to you about what's going on. How do you cope with it, and how do you still figure out how to function in this craziness of prices and inflation right now? If salaries are not matched to reflect the rising prices of groceries, gas, rent, it becomes more difficult for people with minimum wage to manage their living standards. Because if you notice, we've got prices going up, but wages not going up, and you've got small businesses not really able to raise their wages to meet what's needed, because you can't expect them especially businesses who've been shut down for the last 2 years or the last, haven't had that fluidity. It's like, okay, we're just in this never ending wheel.
Yeah.
Like a hamster running, and we can't catch ourselves right now.
Yeah.
That was a pretty good metaphor.
I thought so.
Okay, so anxiety and depression could also become an issue and even schizophrenia can actually, for people in vulnerable populations, can actually become more prevalent right now. And the reason, if you already have a predetermined factor for this and you have a stressor, it can actually exacerbate those symptoms and bring on some of that.
Right.
Money stress ranked at the highest level right now since 2015, with the top sources linked to the rise of prices of everyday items. Like I said, groceries, energy bills. Every time I get my electric bill right now,
yeah.
I have to have this whole relaxation moment before I even think about opening it.
Yeah.
Okay. And I know I'm not the only one, guys. It's just been crazy as to what we've been going through. So supply chain issues, global uncertainty. Think about the baby formula shortages. I've seen everywhere. Family, friends. I don't know how I'm going to feed my baby. I'm having to pay so much more for baby formula, but I can't afford it, and I usually get it through WIC. And it's just all these things that are just compounding. You would expect people to be more anxious and depressed. It can affect people in all socioeconomic categories. However, the lower income groups are likely facing the toughest circumstances right now, and this could worsen economic inequality across the nation. Growing economic inequality has been a significant and long-term issue. And now we live in a world where the pandemic has made some people, and please understand, I'm not saying all people, but some people more wealthy than they already were. But for people who are at the bottom, they have never been more insecure than they were. Okay.
Yeah.
We're still dealing with the effects of the pandemic, and we're still going to be dealing with that for a very, very long time. There's been an increase of people seeking mental health resources. I see that in my own practice, as well as other professionals trying to figure out how to manage this and how to cope. There's been little debate, okay, on the link between inflation and people's mental health against a backdrop of distress, resentment, and stress fueled by economic instability. So think about this. So we know that there's all this monetary issues, government spending, economic shock effects, and inflation, right? But where are we talking about the impact on our mental health? We're not. You're not
Right.
seeing that.
No.
So you're not. People aren't even aware. I mean, well, they're not openly discussing it because it's something we don't want to discuss. Let's sweep it under the rug and not worry about that. As our suicide rates go up,
Yeah.
as all
Worst
these
things you
things
could
start
do.
happening. I mean, it's expected. You see it. It's a cause and effect. Basic cause and effect. In May, soaring food and gasoline prices, along with a weaker currency, pushed Pakistan's headline inflation to 13.8%, the highest level in more than 2 years. Food prices rose by 17.3%, while transportation costs increased by 31.8%. Wow.
Yeah.
That was May. It's June. That was last month.
Sure.
The government's recent move to raise fuel prices in two-step increments will exacerbate the current price level. Other measures such as hikes in electricity and power tariffs will push headline inflation even more. High inflation, which has struck most essential expenses and surpassed wage attainments, is a major source of concern for many people right now. At the present, economic uncertainty is inevitable, and it's virtually a grin and bear it condition. This begs the question, what effect does inflation have on our mental health or the social welfare of society? Okay, again, nobody's talking about this. We know it's bad out there. We know that there's many that the mental health right now, what's going on. A plethora of research studies have concluded that many people's mental health have suffered as a result of the psychological repercussions of economic woes, which have been compounded by concerns such as joblessness and inflation. Inflation is regarded as a long-term psychological source of stress since it adversely affects income levels within society and induces poverty, particularly in developing countries. When inflation is high, we get more anxious. Inflation causes economic uncertainty, which has that negative impact on one's mental health. This causes chronic stress. You hear what I'm saying. It's all related. Inflation is more than just a monetary phenomenon. People's economic status is worsened as a result of the mental stress caused by inflation. So you see that hamster wheel turning?
Mm-hmm.
So it's inflation, mental stress, more difficulty because we can't get out of bed because we don't know how to cope. So I can't go to work because I'm overwhelmed. Okay? This is making me anxious this morning. Individual economic actions, such as how much to work, invest, and consume, are prone to be distorted as a result of such impacts on economic choices. Impaired focus and weariness reduce work productivity. The social stigma associated with mental illness may exacerbate the problem. Again, there's still a social stigma out there with mental illness. We know that. No matter how much we want to believe that we're accepting it more and more, which we are, there's still a stigma.
Sure.
There's still a stigma. I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's going to go away by this date of this year, because I sure to heck don't know the answer to that. I hope that we continue to evolve, and I believe that we truly have evolved in the 20 years that I've been practicing in this field. That's a long time, huh? I'm old.
I wouldn't go that far.
Okay.
It's a good experience.
So because it coexists with health problems, such as stress and heart disease, mental illness tends to raise the chance of devastating healthcare spending for people. Again, more money. we all have money to just throw away right now. Inflationary pressure can obstruct youth ability to learn and acquire skills, as well as aggravate gender inequity due to its higher prevalence among women. Mental illness in parents can have an impact on their children's cognitive development and educational success. Transient mental illness and poverty down the generations. Okay, so we just started summer, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we really did. Even though it feels like August out there, we really just started summer. And we're talking about this huge jump in May, right? Okay, so parents out there that now have their children home.
Those little dumplings are home.
And, the grocery bills were already bad enough. Well, now they've skyrocketed.
Sure.
Because the kids are home all the time. We have to feed them, right?
Well, yeah.
Technically we really do. maybe not everything they want. And I mean, how do you keep it going? I
Yeah.
mean, it's what are you supposed to do? Do I get food or do I pay my electric bill? I mean,
Yeah.
these are choices people are having to make right now.
Yeah.
With the cost of living reaching 40 years highs and the inability to find necessities, like I said, like the baby formula, experts say that there's more mental strain on people. Those with low wages are having to redirect their budgets to afford necessities like food and gas, which also means they can't afford to enjoy certain activities as they're used to.
Right.
You know, that, hey, let's go out to eat once a week, or hey, I mean, that's that's no longer in the budget. I mean, absolutely not, because that money's going to fill up your gas tank. I mean, to get you to work.
So you can pay those bills.
I mean, it's again, it's just that hamster wheel going and going and going. We can't catch ourselves. Psychologists say people are suffering from increased anxiety with no definitive end in sight on when prices will return to normal. The lack of control over the situation, of course, adds the stress. Because this is so out of all of our control, that really increases people's anxiety. And so I've just sat here and increased everybody's anxiety, right?
Yeah.
You're like, I thought
I was
you were
having a
gonna
pretty
help
good
me.
day till you rolled in here.
You're like, what do I do? How do I control this? What do I do with everything you just threw at me? First off, you've got to focus on what you can control. I can't control what those gas prices are doing. I can't control going to the grocery store and my grocery bill now being $500 as opposed to $250. I can't control that. Okay. So you have to focus on what you can control. It might be exercise. I just love exercise. That was kidding. I don't love it, but I love telling people to do it. It might be some reconfiguring of your family structure, your budget. I mean, sit down, look. Hey, this is where it's at. Start. Kids are home. Your electricity bill's going up. You got 10 electronics going on in the house. Maybe you need to limit some of that stuff and be aware of all of that. Reestablish what you can control and what you can do. Those experiencing anxiety caused by the inflated prices and supply shortages should talk it through with their support systems. Allow time to break away from the constant worrisome thoughts. As for high prices, take a look at your financials. Weigh priorities in order to find where budget cuts can happen, because they can. Really sit down, and if you need help, talk to somebody that really can help you. If it's something you're like so overwhelmed when you try to sit down and do this, everybody, I don't care if you are a multi-million-dollar breadwinner or if you earn $5 a month. Everybody should constantly reevaluate their monthly budget, especially when prices and things are changing so frequently, because you've got to be able to be fluid, and you've got to recognize, hey, where's my money going?
You talked about getting somebody to help you. A lot of times it's hard to see the forest for the trees when you're in it. And then they look at it and go, hey, this is stupid right here. You're not even using that. Yeah. Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And people forget, how much money does it cost to, take care of pets? How much money does it cost to go buy cigarettes and alcohol and all these things that, are that we become dependent on during our stress? And what can I do to take down some of those things as well? I'm not saying that there's people that don't truly need some of that, but then you have to go, is it a necessity? Can I cut down? What do I need to do? You have to look at where you can adjust. Take a break. Again, guys, I've hit on this and hit on this. I hit on this last week, and I've hit on this through the pandemic. Take a break from watching, reading, or listening to news stories. It will increase your anxiety. Okay, you can control that. Okay, there's so much thrown out there about everything right now that it in and of itself, you can control what you are putting in your mind. Work out, eat healthy, avoid using excessive use of alcohol and tobacco, practice deep breathing, meditating. It's important to recognize, again, when you need additional help too. So, make sure you're talking to your support, contacting a mental health provider if it gets to the point that you just can't function. Absolutely. That's what we're here for. There are multiple destabilizing factors that are leading to higher levels of depression and higher levels of anxiety. The best advice that can be given to deal with this is find things around you that are stable. Okay, be grateful for 5 things that you have in your environment. 5 things that you have in your environment. Why do you think that is?
I'm not sure.
It takes 5 positives to outweigh 1 negative.
Oh, okay.
So.
Did you come up with that all by yourself?
No, I mean, it's research. It's research based, but it's really cool when you think about it. You know, and I mean, really think about the 5 things that you have to be grateful for in your environment. You know, and the stuff that you can't control, but you can look at what you can be grateful for. I mean, so many people don't have that. Think about 4 things that are helpful for you each day. Okay? Think of 3 things that you can do to help other people. You know, people always say there's got to be somebody else worse off than me right now. And I guarantee you there is. I guarantee you there is.
Yeah.
You know, stopping and helping somebody that's in a more difficult situation, then you can really open your eyes to what you have. Think about 2 things that you can do to make a difference. Make time to take care of yourself. If you don't do self-care, you will become depressed, anxious, unable to function. It is inevitable because you cannot give from an empty cup.
There you go.
So take care of yourself, guys. Be aware, be grateful, look at the positive things, look at what you can control and focus on that. Budget, you know, stay within your budget, look at your budget, reevaluate that every month. And again, we're here for you at Hope Counseling of Texas. If there's anything that we can do to help you, resources, I mean, anything that we can do, we're here for you. With offices in Hamilton, Eastland, Comanche, and Dublin. It is Monday.
I was fixing to try to help.
Oh, man. It's Monday, guys. So, yeah, Hamilton, Comanche, Eastland, and Dublin. We're here for you at Hope Counseling of Texas, 325-356-1105, 325-356-0075, or find us on Facebook at Hope Counseling of Texas. Again, guys, we're here for you. Whatever I can do to help you, whatever our staff can do, just know that we're here.
I did want to clarify. You said you don't do the exercise. You just tell people to do it, and I know that's not true because you have. Is he a teenager yet? The oldest one?
Well, he's almost.
Okay, you got 3. She's got 3 preteen boys in the house, so she gets plenty of exercise. I know. I hear all about it when she comes in here on Monday morning. Thanks, Cynthia, for stopping by.
You're welcome. Thank you. Y'all have a wonderful week.
Calling all farmers, ranchers, and anyone else buying or selling.